Talk Across the Narrows. I am Troy Libert and I will be your host for this evening. The Honorable Mark Brantley, our usual host, sends his apologies. He could not be here with us tonight, but I think we're going to have a wonderful time here tonight. I haven't been here in the studios of Van Radio for a little while. I was on a bit of a hiatus, and I'm so happy to be back here in the studios tonight to spend a wonderful night with all of you. I've missed you. So, ladies and gentlemen, how are you doing? We started on time as usual, and we have a lot to talk about tonight. As usual, at the top of the show, we want to welcome those persons listening from the four corners of the world. On the Mark is truly an international show. There's nothing better than me walking down the road and perhaps I call out to somebody or I'm talking to somebody and some person who I've maybe never seen before walks up to me and say, "Hey, I know your voice. You're Troy, but I've heard you on the Mark." And I say, "Yeah, it's me." So they say, "Okay, it's good to put a face, to the voice." But as of late, the face has been going around too, because if you're not aware yet, we are also streaming live. We are live on Facebook, so you go to Facebook and you type in Von Radio, and you can find the live stream of On the Mark. And if you're on Facebook, you can go on Facebook and type in Von Radio and look for the live. And then you can not only listen to us, but you can view the show. And if you see, I'm in white tonight. White is a kind of neutral color. But I have on my watch with my blue band, which means that we're starting to show just a little bit of color. We're starting to warm up. And, oddly enough, today I heard a few things that, started to get me warm. It seems like politics is in the air again, but as the show goes on, we'll talk a little bit more about the politics. I want to welcome all of you who are listening. Those of you in the Far East, I know if you're in Taiwan and so on, it's probably already the next day. And thank you for sticking with us. Those of you in Western Europe and so on, it's probably the middle of the night. If you're up there and you're staying up to listen to On the Mark, I'm so thankful that you have decided to do that and that you do that week after week. For those of you back here in the Western Hemisphere, in North America, in Canada, in the United States, wherever you are in the United States, all over the United States, in Cuba, in the U.S. Virgin Islands, in Jamaica, in the British Virgin Islands, in St. Martin, all of the islands, the Windward Islands, St. Lucia, Grenada, Dominica. If you're in Trinidad and Tobago, if you're in Guyana, I want to welcome in all of you. On the Mark is what it is because of all of you. And of course, here in St. Kitts and Nevis, we're the number one show. We are the number one talk show. 2 hours of uninterrupted talk. There's nowhere else where that happens but On the Mark. We have other talk shows on the radio, but every now and again they break for commercial, they break for the sponsors and so on. On the Mark is the only way you can come and get 2 hours of uninterrupted talk. And the thing about it is that this is your show because we love it when you call in. We love it when you give us your views and your ideas. And of course, this show was started when Mark was well, he wasn't really in opposition, but it started when he was a community activist. It continued when he was in opposition. And now that he's in government and we are all, most of us who host the show anyway, are members of the government, it gives you, the members of the general public, an opportunity like no other to interact with the members of the government, to come on the show and to ask the tough questions, to ask the easy questions, to comment when you feel like you want to comment. It gives you pretty much full access to the minister so that week after week you can question about our stewardship. There are many persons who, once they get into government, they would shy away from coming on the radio because they wouldn't want to be put under questioning. But we have not done that. We have stayed on the radio. So whatever it is that, whatever questions people have, we have been here to answer them. You know, we have been here to interact with you. So very warm, very special good night to all of you. And as I spoke about warm, the weather has been very warm here in Nevis. So for those of you who are out there in the diaspora, those of you who are in North America and so on, I know it's summer and I know it's getting warm up there, but Nevis is a different type of warmth, you know. When it gets warm in the summer up there, the humidity and so on, and you're between all of those buildings, so that's a different type of hot. In Nevis, when you're in the summer, it's warm, but it's a nice kind of warm. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to encourage all of you to come on down, because you know the Culturama is about to start, and Culturama is a time when all of us as Nevisians and so on, we like to get together and interact with each other, and you know, get to know each other. Every year I meet maybe 10, 15, 20 persons who I either had never met them before, or I knew of them but had never met them in person during Culturama. And I don't want this year to be any different, except maybe if I meet more people. So I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of you come back to Nevis, and bring some of your friends too. Some of your friends who maybe they don't really know about Nevis. Maybe when you speak to them on the job or wherever you're accustomed to meet them, and they ask you where you're from, and you tell them, look, I'm from a place called Nevis, and you can certainly bring them with you, and they can certainly come in and enjoy the Culturama. Of course, at the top of the show, we often like to send out our condolences to persons who would have suffered loss. I can think about the Smitten family over there in the Zion area. You've lost your mom, and she was a very sweet lady. So I want to send out my condolences to all of you, and to anyone else. I apologize. I didn't get to follow the death announcements this week as much as I would normally do. So, but if there are any other persons, of course, somebody can call in and say that this is, of course, the People's Show. And, you know, on the flip side of this, because where we suffer, sometimes there are persons who are happy. I want to send out birthday greetings to all those who are celebrating. I know that Celestine Grant, she's celebrating today, and I hope you're still having a good celebration. I hope it's okay to call your name on the radio. I know you're celebrating, so I want to wish you a happy birthday. And of course, the one and only Colin Tyrrell. Colin is celebrating his birthday today, so Colin, a big shout out to you. I should have tried to get you on the radio for your birthday, but I know you might be out having a big celebration. So big happy birthday to you. Colin is somebody who has been, you know, near and dear to me, and definitely near and dear to the CCM, the whole CCM family, and indeed the whole Nevis family. He would have served for many years as a minister in the Nevis Island administration, and then he would have served many years before that as a community activist and so on. And then subsequent to that, in our previous term, he served as the legal advisor, and is now serving in the capacity as an advisor in the Ministry of Culture and so on. So Colin, I want to wish you all the best, and many, many more years of, you know, many more birthdays, many more years of good health and long life and so on. And to anybody else who's celebrating, I want to also wish all of you, whether it's happy birthday, happy anniversary, those who just celebrated the graduation of the kids and so on from the primary schools. It's graduation season in our primary schools. I want to wish all of you all the best, and all of your children who are going to be moving on to high school. I want to wish them the best. You know, those of you who did very well, those of you who are excellent on your test of standards and promotion exams and so on, and you really achieved what you set out to achieve. I want to congratulate all of you. And for those who did not do as well, and you're moving on to high school now, it's the end of one journey. But the good thing is that it's the beginning of another journey. And sometimes, I don't want to call it failure, but sometimes when you don't do as well as you want to do, you can use that as fuel, to propel you to do what you need to do in the next stage of your life. So we're looking out for good things from you going on into high school. We're 12 minutes after the 8 o'clock hour. I have a guest here in the studios with me. My guest for tonight is Mr. P. Clayton Huggins, and Mr. Huggins is the managing director of the Nevis Theatre Guild.
Yes.
And he's here to speak a bit about the Nevis Theatre and Dramatic Arts Fest. And this is a part of the Culturama events, and it's going to be happening at the NEPAC.
Yep.
He also is part of the Poets in the Square,
Yep.
which is now a staple of our Culturama. And we can't go back to Culturama without Poets in the Square. I myself have thought about coming into the square to recite some to recite some poetry, but I will have to sit down and come up with some sort of poetry, and then I might be able to come. I'm getting a challenge here. I'm going to look up the dates for the Poets in the Square, and then I'm going to walk in and surprise everybody at the Poets in the Square. So, Mr. Huggins, I want to welcome you to the studios of Van Radio. Of course, you are no stranger to the studios of Van Radio. And good night to you.
Thank you very much for having me, and good night to all of your listeners, far and near. I'm going to hold you to that promise. I will expect to see you sometime between the 29th of July and the 2nd of August in the square reciting. Before I get into that, before Poets in the Square begins on the 21st, this coming Sunday, we begin the first, what we hope and know will be the annual Nevis Theatre Festival. It will be, it will run from Sunday to Saturday, except for Thursday night, which is the official opening of Culturama. Culturama has had a very symbiotic relationship with theatre. Many people will know that what we know as Culturama began out of NEDAX, which was a theatre group some many years ago. And that tradition, we hope, will return, because although this is our first festival, we have already received inquiries from theatre groups in North America who would like to perform with us next year, and a theatre group here in the Caribbean. So we're looking forward to having this event annually and contiguous with Culturama. As I said, it begins, it runs for from Sunday night, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. There are no activities, Friday and Saturday. All performances will be at NEPAC and begin at the doors, open at 7:45. One of the things that we're going to do, which is I think slightly different, is that during each night's intermission, there will be in the courtyard of NEPAC a performance. One night of masquerade, of drummers and steel band, so on and so forth, so that you get a full appreciation of the culture, not the theatrical part of Culturama, but other cultural activities. Tickets will be $40 adults, 20 children. They can be purchased online at caribtickets.com. You can download the app and pay online. Purchase your tickets online, and when you come to the event, you'll have your tickets, as it were, on your phone. There will also be some physical tickets that you can purchase from members of both Nevis Theatre Guild and the Next Generation Theatre, which is a theatre group here in Nevis, which will also be participating. And just to give you an idea of what will be on tap for each night. On Sunday night, we have a grand opening. There will be a cocktail hour, which begins at 7:30. There's a blue carpet and backdrop in the courtyard for selfies. You can post your selfies on Instagram or on other platforms and social media. And you can take pictures with your actors. Actually, right now, the actors are on stage in a dress rehearsal.
All of the actors are local people?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's interesting because in the performance, Sunday, it's Next Generation Theatre, and their play is called Broken But Healed. On Monday night, it's out of St. Kitts, is Lachlan Tatum's theatre group called Point Sienna, and they will perform a play called The Squeeze. On Tuesday, they'll be back with Lies, Lies, and More Lies. Wednesday, Nevis Theatre Guild will have The Burial of Miss Faitlin, and also repeated on Friday. And in that play, a visiting actor from Jamaica will be performing. And that actor is Mr. Owen Ellis, also known as Blacker. He's a comedian, although he says he doesn't like to be called a comedian. And on Saturday night, there will be a special performance where we will have local performers on the stage with Blacker. Those local performers will be Chesley Manners, Cheryl Sutton, and Adela Mead. There'll be an intermission, and then Mr. Owen Ellis, Blacker, will come on and give his performance. Okay. So it's we think that we're looking forward to having a very good turnout and support. And as I say, I began with Dr. Bartlett, Poets in the Square, and it's interesting you should say you think of you can't think of Culturama without Poets in the Square. And you're not the first person to tell me that. And we're aiming to have this theatre festival become as identified with Culturama as is Poets in the Square. So we are encouraging members of the public to purchase their tickets online, and they will be also able to purchase on the night of the performance.
It sounds interesting. It's something that starts on the 21st.
Yes, this coming Sunday.
Yeah, let me pull my calendar out.
And every night except for Thursday. Thursday is the official opening of Culturama, so we are not going to.
So you skip Thursday night.
Thursday
so
night.
It's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday,
Wednesday, Friday, and
Saturday.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a whole week of
drama.
And it's $40 to enter per night.
Yes.
And $20 per night for children.
Yes.
Okay.
And you can purchase online at CaribPay, with CaribPay, or you can purchase at the door. All from members of both theatre groups.
Every night is a different flavor of drama.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, that sounds very, very interesting. I don't know if I'll be able to make it to the all of the nights, but I'll see if I can slip in one or two.
Yes.
And it sounds very interesting that we're going to have a guest.
Yes. And next year, what we have had serious inquiries. Well, one particular group out of one of the islands south of here, they're committed to coming.
Okay.
And we have had inquiries from a theatre group in Toronto and two from the United States.
Okay, so these type of plays, I know that there are some plays that you watch YouTube and you see these plays, regional plays out of Jamaica and so on. What can people look forward to with these type of plays that you have?
The type of plays we have are plays written by local writers, like the group coming from St. Kitts. the Lies and More Lies has only two characters, and it's basically a story between a man and woman who, as most drama between men and women go, the story, the title of the play would give you an idea of what is going on. But it's really the life of local people in the Caribbean, and always there's a message, a moral behind the story, and I think that's the important thing. The Burial of Miss Faitlin, although there are two performances of that, I can tell you from experience that if you see it on Wednesday night, and you see it then on Friday night, there'll be two different, because every time you go on the stage, there's something new, something.
Okay, there's something that's different.
Yes, there's a different
And
level.
theater, while probably not as big in like Nevis, when you go to places like New York and so on, and you go on Broadway, theater is
It's-
a really
It
really big
is.
thing.
It is a big thing, and actually, what we think we will be able to do 3, 4, 5 years from now is to have professional grade theater groups come in. I think 4 years ago there was a group from England they were on a tour and they did Hamlet here. And I don't see why 4 or 5 years from now we cannot have something like that. There will always be the local regional theater, plays written by local regional writers, playwrights, but I think that it is reasonable to assume that we will get theater groups who might want to do Ibsen or Shakespeare.
And what are the chances of us getting some sort of professional playwright or professional institution that's into the performing arts, probably getting a few persons who teach
Yes.
the performing arts to come down and do some workshops, maybe a 6-week workshop in writing or something like that, so that we can develop
Yes.
the local. Do you have any, like, let's say your guild has some contacts where we can get somebody to come down and do something like that?
What we actually have on tap, as it were, excuse me, is a plan to give a scholarship to someone locally to study in England some aspect of theatre. But I'm sure the issue you raise, as we become more developed in the festival, that you can almost assume will fall into place, because as more and more people come to Nevis with theatre groups and see the talent that we have, I can well imagine that that is something that will, as it were, flow from the festival.
Okay. Very, very interesting. So we can look forward to some the Nevis Theatre and Dramatic Arts Festival.
Yes.
This is happening at the NEPAC from the 21st of July to the 27th.
Yes.
We're skipping one night, and
Yes.
that's the Thursday, and
the
that's the night
25th.
that we have the
Official.
official launch of Culturama.
Yes.
And I think people have a lot to look out for. It's $40 for adults, $20 for children in the what we call it, the intermediate time.
The intermission.
Intermission, yes.
You will be able to see performances
By
of
the
like
Masquerade, by
Clown,
Steel
Steel Pen.
Yes, and so
Yes.
it sounds like good, wholesome family fun. So
Yes, indeed.
probably for some of those folks who don't want to go to the more hardcore Culturama events, you can come on out and enjoy some good theater
Indeed.
and some good family and wholesome experiences. You can see some masquerade and so on, and it's a good opportunity to get together with other people.
Another thing that we're planning. I don't know if you know this. The little wooden church at the end of Shaw's Road in Newcastle was where my parents were ministers. I grew up in that church, and one of the traditions in that church are what I knew as pageants, which where you would take passages from the Bible and translate them into plays. And one of the things I'm thinking of is next year, when we have this arrangement, the night where we give for the opening of Culturama, we would have a play in the church. There was one held, I think, a couple of months ago up in Gingerland. And that would be a way to incorporate that tradition, because I know that when my parents were transferred to Sandy Point, that was instituted there. And I know a young woman in Sandy Point who has a theatre group, and precisely because she grew up in the church. So one of the things that we're thinking of doing for next year is to include that aspect of theatre in the festival.
That sounds very good. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. I've been joined by Mr. P. Clayton Huggins, who has come to give some pertinent information about the Nevis Theatre Guild and the Dramatic Arts Festival, the Nevis Dramatic Arts, Nevis Theatre
And
and
Dramatic,
Dramatic Arts
Festival.
Festival. Let me get it correct.
Indeed.
That's happening at the NEPAC over the next few days, from the 21st
This coming Sunday.
of July, that's this coming Sunday, to the following Saturday.
Yes.
Mr. Huggins, I'll give you a last word before, we are at, about 27 minutes after the 8 o'clock hour now. And as I told you, I haven't been here for a while, so I intend to talk some politics tonight.
Okay,
So
I
I'm
will.
going to give you a last word.
I will clear out while the political talk begins. Just to remind visitors, listeners from wherever you are, that if you're coming home for Culturama and you arrive early, you can join us at NEPAC for theatre, local theatre from St. Kitts and Nevis. And we're looking forward to making this an annual event. And as I said, we already have. If you live overseas, if you to purchase tickets, you do that through CaribPay. You can go online to caribpaytickets.com and caribtickets.com and download the app and do that and pay online. And when you come to the event, we can read that bought ticket online. If you prefer the old-fashioned way, you can purchase tickets in person from members of the theatre group, and you can pay when you come to each night of the event. So, Mr. Libert, thanks very much for having me and giving me an opportunity to speak on behalf of the Nevis Theatre Guild and our theatre festival.
It was definitely a pleasure, and
Thank you.
I look forward to probably coming to 1 or 2 nights and seeing.
Indeed.
what
Not probably.
Seeing what we have here. Yeah,
Yes.
I'll definitely try to make it.
Okay.
Seeing what we do here in Nevis in terms of theatre. I'm definitely one who's interested in the arts.
Yes.
I'd like to see 1 or 2 Nevisians, take up the arts and maybe get good at it, go into probably the United States or something, get into Hollywood and become a movie star.
Well, true enough.
That's something I would like to see.
Yeah,
And
but
it starts in a very simple place,
Yes.
probably being involved in the arts right here,
yes.
honing that craft, maybe somebody becoming a writer, and it can start right here by honing that craft, writing small plays and so on,
Yes.
and perhaps they can take it big time one of these days. So,
But I like to think that at some point, certainly with this festival in 2, 3, 4 years, this will be the big time. And we'll have people from the United States and Canada and around coming here, wanting to perform, and that would help the local actors seeing that quality and caliber of acting. So I know that you're anxious to get on with your political talks. I will thank your audience members for having me and letting you get at it with the political talk.
do have a wonderful night.
Thank
Ladies
you.
and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. We're at the 8:30 mark now, and we intend to have quite a robust discussion tonight. I've come prepared to talk. I haven't been here in a while, so the pipes need a little exercise, so I'm ready to talk. Over the weekend, more specifically on Sunday, we had a very historic event here on Nevis on Sunday, morning. And for the first time ever in the history of our federation, we had a sitting president of the Republic of China on Taiwan. We had the sitting president come to Nevis. And so that was no small achievement. And while here, the president would have come to the site where the Pinnis Park is to be built, and along with the Premier of Nevis, Honorable Mark Brantley, they would have broken ground on what is going to be the Pinnis Park. Of course, this is a project that we have spoken about over several years. This is a project that, it has gone through several iterations. We've spoken about it, and it's something that has been in the public domain. Of course, we've had some people saying that the Pinnis Park is pie in the sky, it probably is not going to come, and so on and so forth. But here we are, that on Sunday, we had no less than the president of the Republic of China on Taiwan come to Nevis to break ground herself on the project. Now, of course, we would have had a consultant coming from Taiwan who would have been in Nevis for several months, dealing with the design and so on, because after we got the okay from Taiwan that, hey, they want to help us on this project, they would have sent a consultant to assist with the design and so on, to make the necessary changes and so on. And when it was unveiled on Sunday, I believe everybody who was there was impressed by the design, and we're definitely looking forward to seeing this park completed. Well, we're looking forward to see the commencement of the work, and then, of course, to see the park being completed. Now, when this park is completed, it's going to be a space that, people on Nevis can go to, can sit down, relax. It's going to have a space there for you to have like an open air amphitheater, so that we can go and have open air concerts and that type of thing. It's going to have areas where you can go with your family and do a little picnic, where you can go, and for persons who into fitness, they can go and do some jogging around the park and so on. And it's going to also be a place that symbolizes the connection between the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis and the Republic of China on Taiwan. So there are going to be some features there that are going to highlight that relationship. But all in all, I believe that it's going to be a place that all of the people of Nevis can be proud of. Now, of course, On the Mark is a call-in show, so I'm going to propose to open the mic in a bit, so that persons who have things to talk about, and I know that there have been quite a bit of things happening in the Federation. I have brought one or two things that I want to talk about, but I also want to get the opinions on the various things that have been bantering around in the media. Of course, we know that we are coming on close to the time when there's going to be a federal election. Federal election is now the talk in the air. So for those who have issues that they want to talk about that, then yeah, we can talk a bit about that. I want to say a few things about Culturama though, because Culturama is right around the corner, and of course, we here at On the Mark, we need to advertise for the Culturama. So over the past weekend, on Sunday night, we had the Senior Kaiso, eliminations. I believe we had about 22 persons who sang in the eliminations, and some Kaisonians were eliminated. And of course, I have the list of 12, and these are the 12 persons who moving on to the semifinals. And then, we'll have the semifinals, and then that number will go down to 8. And then those 8 will come to Oh, that number will go down to 7. Sorry, I stand corrected. And then those 7 will come up against the reigning king, the MBE. This and that. I like, we have to give people their accolades. And King This and That is one who has come in and he sings repeatedly year after year after year after year. He comes back and he is consistent, and he was awarded with the distinction of MBE, and it's one that I think that he should be proud of, and we should be proud to use it. So the name of the persons who have made it to the semifinals, we have Black Hat, King Hollywood, King Astro, Nutsi, Pupa Wheeler, Badman Polo, Suki, Daddy Nature, Murray, King Irwin, The Undertaker, and Lady Smooth. And I don't normally go out and say that I have a favorite Calypsonian or a favorite Calypso and so on. I try to be neutral, but I'm going to depart a little bit in 2019, right? And I'm going to tell everybody that I am rooting for Irwin. I believe that song Johnny Wine is one of the one of the songs that I like most in many years. And if you have not seen Irwin perform Johnny Wine yet, you need to come out to the semifinals, to watch the semifinals, to see Irwin perform Johnny Wine, because it is special. It is very, very special, especially when the song starts saying, "Go Johnny, go Johnny." I tell you, that thing is special. So if you have not been out to see the Calypsonians, I am asking you all to come out to the semifinals. And hold on a second, let me see when the date for the semifinals is going to be. I'm looking here. Okay, I find eliminations. Okay. Where is this semi-final? Oh Lord. I'm looking for the semi-final, and I need glasses. I can't seem to find the date for the semi-finals. Well, I will find it, or somebody will tell me when it is. But whenever the semi-final is, I want everybody to come out and support and watch the semi-finals, because it's very, 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 very important. I believe that this year is going to be one of the most keenly contested competitions. Okay, I'm getting the semi-finals right now. So the semi-final is going to be on Saturday, the 27th of July. So Saturday, the 27th of July, and it's going to be at the complex or the village. Well, the complex and the village close by. So once you come in the vicinity, you will see where it is being held, whether the semi-final is going to be in the complex or it's going to be in the village. And I'm hoping the Minister of Culture is listening and he can call in and clarify all of these things. But I want everybody to come. All of the Calypsonians sound good. Every one of them sound good. Okay? I believe that there are some persons who went to the eliminations who said, well, there were some persons who they thought sounded really well. Such was the level of the competition. But at the end of the day, the judges have to decide. They are the judges, and they decide. And they have decided. And we have the 12 persons who have moved on to the semifinals, and I am happy that Irwin is included in them, because I get one more chance to see the Johnny Wine being performed. And if you have not seen it, it's worth the price of admission. So come out, make sure you come out on Saturday the 27th to support the Calypsonians. Of course, The official launch of Culturama is going to be on Thursday, the 23rd of July. That's next, no, sorry. Yes, Thursday the 25th. It's the grand opening of Culturama. So it's the 25th, next week, Thursday. And on that same night, we also have the Pichix Junior Kaiso contest. Then on Friday the 26th, we have the Steel Pan in concerts. And then later on in that night, we have the Toucan Sounds presents Kess the Band. So Kess the Band is going to be live here in Nevis for Culturama, and that's next week, Friday night. Now, I can't advertise next week, Friday night, without advertising this week, Friday night. So before we get to Kess the Band, next week, Friday night, this week, Friday night, we have the Richards promotion, Epic 4-in-1 Fete. So what they're saying is that you get 4 fetes in one. So this Culturama is just full of activities. So different activities for persons who are into different things. Oh, also, this week, Saturday night, we have the opening of the village itself, the official opening of the Culturama village, and we're going to have the Soca Monarch semi-finals. So we had the Calypso eliminations last Sunday. This week, Saturday now, we're going to have the Soca Monarch semi-finals. And the Soca Monarch shows, if you have not been to the Soca Monarch shows, they have been exceptional. Last year's Soca Monarch show was, you know, the quality of the show was up there. It was an exceptional show. So come out to the semi-finals, and then we'll see who makes it to the finals. And then, of course, we have the Nevis Theatre Guild and Dramatic Arts Cultural Festival. That's going from the 21st to the 27th. On Tuesday, the 23rd, we have Folk Fest, and it's an evening of Nevisian culture and tradition. That's on the 23rd. Culturama, this Culturama is so full of activities. I could stay here all night talking about this Culturama, you know. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at 8:45. I'm going to open the lines now for anybody who wants to call in. Let's get the call in going. But I'm going to continue to talk about Culturama until I receive my first call. So the lines are open. The numbers to call, 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers to call. If you have issues that you want to talk about, call in to talk about your issues. I'm going to continue to run through the events for Culturama, and then I walk with my computer tonight. Let me lift it up so that those watching by YouTube and on Facebook can see. And I have some papers with me tonight because I intend to talk a little bit of politics. But let me clear up the little Culturama thing. Let me go through the list of events. But if you have questions, call in and we will deal with your questions. Let me continue go through the Culturama. So on Saturday now, the 27th, because after the Friday night where we have the Toucan Sounds presents Kess the Band, Friday the 26th, on Saturday the 27th we have the Empire Sports Club Aquatic Extravaganza. And that is something that is becoming a really big deal. It normally happens in town on the bayfront. And, you know, you have the greasy pole and all of those things. Okay, we have our first caller for the night. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
A blessed evening, my beloved brother. How are you and your family?
Man, I'm wonderful. And how are you? Everybody is good.
All right, brother. Brother Noble here calling from New York, man.
How things in New York? How is the weather?
Oh, man, brother, it's thunderstorms, man. It's raining right now, man.
Oh, that is true. You know, I heard you all having some bad weather because there was supposed to be a Yankees game tonight for those who watch baseball. But the game got canceled.
Look out. I'm looking outside right now, brother, and I got to go to work.
Oh, you got to go to work tonight?
Yeah, Yeah, man.
Man,
Yeah.
that's bad.
Oh, but it's raining like pouring like. Why you know nothing stop us here in New
Yeah,
York?
yeah, but it had to be bad. If it's stopping a Yankees game, then it have to be
man.
bad.
The thunder just flashing like crazy, brother.
Okay.
Yeah, man. But,
So what's on your mind?
Well, but politics, and certain things. But let me say something. Christina disaster happened about 1970.
Yeah.
But I was about 10 years old, beloved, and you want to tell me up to this day, on the other side of the Federation, St. Kitts, there haven't been a memorial up to this day, brother. It's shameful, and I'm calling on this administration that I support. But take all kind of verbal blows and threats and all kind of things, to build a monument. Build a monument in honor of those ancestors, man, who lost their lives in 1970, August 1970. I could remember that. But as a boy growing up in St. Kitts, beloved brother, that must be done. And I'm calling on that administration and do it sooner.
We have a monument in Nevis.
In Nevis.
Yeah, we've built.
But
And
brother, you ain't got no federation named the Federation of Nevis.
of course, I understand what you're saying.
The Federation of St. Kitts Nevis.
I understand it was a tragedy that affected both islands
Yes.
really, really deeply, and that is something that touched pretty much everybody's life. I had a lot of family who died on the Christina. My grandmother, my maternal grandmother, my mother's mother, she was on the boat and she died tragically on the boat, so I never got to know my mother's mother. My mother was probably
I
about
hear that, but
10 years old.
my maternal
So-
grandparents come out of Nevis. From what I was told, the Bussus from Butler, I never meet them, brother. Never meet them. But before I make my transition, I will. Brother, let me move forward now with the politics. I'm calling on this administration, beloved brother, with that hot button issue when it comes to those of us who live overseas. And they're going to affect those of us who live overseas and who live on the home front.
So which issue you're talking about?
Well, I'm talking about the residency requirement.
Oh, for
I am
voting.
not in... Go ahead, go.
So what's your opinion on it?
My opinion is, beloved brother, it cannot be no 6 months, no 3 months, but it's supposed to be no more than a month, beloved brother. If that's what it's going to be. Cannot be no 3 months, 6 months, and anything like that.
You see, the thing is, I think what we need to have is an open discussion on it. Because if there's going to be a residency requirement, then a residency requirement implies that you live, okay? So if it's going to be a residency requirement, then make it a residency requirement. And you can't have a residency requirement that says a month. If we are going to say that we are not going to have a residency requirement, then we're going to say that we not have a residency requirement. So, I mean, from my point of view, and as you've said, this is a hot button topic. I have a personal view on it. I think the CCM party has a view on it. I have sought not to really expound too much on my view, and I would wait on the leadership of the CCM to say, well, when we can give the CCM's point of view on the matter. But in the meantime, it would be good to get the views of you folks in the general public, so that your opinions and your views can be taken on board whenever whatever decision is supposed to be made. But we can't say, what I will tell you is this, you can't say that you're going to have a residency requirement and then not really have a residency requirement. You're either going to say you have a requirement or you're going to not have a requirement. So to say like, well, we're going to do a 1 month requirement, a 1 month requirement doesn't really do anything.
But what I'm saying too, this residency requirement, it's not going to affect just those of us who live overseas. It's going to affect those two on the home front because, okay, for example, right, if you live, say, in Constituency 6, where I come from, right, in St. Kitts, right, and you say I move, say I was living down and I moved to Constituency 5, I cannot vote until I think there is residency requirement in the other constituency.
But
so
that's
not don't know just affect.
But that's not the case.
Those, what you said?
That's not the case. It depends on how you're going to frame it, but from my
Well,
understanding,
that's what I'm saying.
from-
so you get
but
to
from my
frame it in a
understanding-
way, beloved,
from my
that
understanding
it
of
don't-
what was put forward, that is not going to be the case.
That's not going to be the case.
No, what you're saying there is not going to be the case.
Well, I don't know. From what I heard, that nothing is written in stone yet. The still, you know, you had the first reading and everything like that. But whatever the final outcome is, it must not be that our people, right, going to be make it so hard that those of us who live overseas, but what most of us only get like 2 weeks vacation. 2 weeks vacation.
I understand that, and
whatever-
you see what is important is that folks let their views be known. Whatever your views is, it's important that you let your views be known. That's how
it must
democracy
be-
is supposed to
It
work.
must be fair for those of us who live abroad and those who live on the home front.
Of
also,
course.
beloved brother.
Of course, I
It
agree with
must be, you know, and it must be done for all parties
of course,
involved. All.
because
So we cannot say, okay, because, brother, you know, at Team Unity have a lot of support. And the CCM, you know, if I want to single out party, have a lot of support. The People's Action
course,
Movement
we
too
have a lot of support
overseas.
in the diaspora, of course.
Yeah. So
People,
you cannot,
you
like
see-
we used to say, you cannot cut your nose or spoil your face.
you see, insofar as
Whatever the final thing is, it must be an equal power, beloved brother. It must. It must be. You know, you cannot deny those of us who neighbor string very in St. Kitts neighbors, you know, you cannot deny us not to the right to vote, beloved brother. So all of that must take into consideration. But we must stamp out this corruption of people from number 6 where I come from, spread out in 4, 5, 8, all over the place, beloved brother. The corruption need to be eliminated once and for all. We must get rid of that, to brother, in this dispensation. So, brother, we must, and this administration must come to a conclusion because what? You only got about less than about just a little over a year constitutionally before the next election.
yeah, about that.
Yeah, because constitutionally cannot go no over, I think it's August of next year if I'm not mistaken. So, brother, we must do the right thing and we must do it now, beloved brother. We must do that. And we, like I say, it must be that our people, those of us who live overseas, brother, must be given that right.
Okay. Thanks a lot, and I hope you get to work safely.
Let me say, blessed evening to Prime Minister. I was a Prime Minister. Well, he'll be Prime Minister very soon, but Brother Mark Brantley.
All right, I know he's listening, so.
But brother, that is my thing. When Dr. Harris is all said and done, for now, my next Prime Minister is Brother Mark Brantley, beloved brother. Thanks again for hearing me. Pan-Africanism our perish. One love, brother. I continue to listen.
Always, brother. One love. Let's stick with the lines. We have another call. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
And good evening, Mark and Brad. this voter got to be in the country for 6 months to work, right? When we had the election for Labour and PAM and all of them, they come put on the red shirt and they put on the when they put on the red shirt now since that water worry, they put on the other shirt when they read think it. So who can come to work? That's their business. Now they continue with our road. Because they fool around here, they fool themselves now because they're Marlins. See you. Have a good night.
All right, you have a wonderful night. Let's stick to the lines. We have another caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Yeah, good night.
Good night.
Yeah.
Hello, caller. We seem to have lost that caller. Do we have any other caller online? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. We're moving up on the 9 o'clock hours. On the 9 o'clock hour, that is, the lines are open. The numbers to call, 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. So, okay. So today, I happen to be going for lunch. As I jumped in my vehicle going for lunch, my radio, happened to be on a particular radio station. And I heard what seemed to be after midday news. And it was speaking about some folks from Nevis who had gone over to St. Kitts to be on the radio. And they had a lot of things to say about politics in Nevis. And I listened and I laughed. Because I thought to myself, well, I would have thought after time and time again, coming to the electorate and the electorate saying, look, guys, we don't agree with you all. You know, we believe that the CCM can run government better than you all. I would have thought that these guys would have said, okay, you know, let's try to get a different approach or something like that. But they're on the radio, and they were talking all kind of nonsense about budget. So I've brought with me a copy, I hope you can see it for those watching, of the 2019 budget done by the Honorable Premier. Let me go back to the line and I'll come back to that. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Hey, good night.
Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Hi.
Hello? Caller, you're on the mark. Yes, good night. Caller, you're on the mark.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Leibel.
Yes, good evening.
Back on that topic, that hot button topic.
Uh-huh.
Whoever came up with that?
What's that?
I said whoever came up with that idea.
Uh-huh.
I keep wondering where they're going with that. I'm telling you,
Mm-hmm.
anybody that try to institute that, there are gonna be consequences.
What sort of consequences do you see?
The people are politically savvy these days, and it's been proven that whenever the leaders try to swindle them, they move them. Let them go ahead.
So why would you use the word swindle? Because, you know, there are different arguments to be made. There's an argument to be made.
Mr. Leibel,
Yes.
let me continue.
Go ahead.
Disenfranchisement, spelled differently, is still disenfranchisement.
Mm-hmm.
We already been through this, and we know that we're not supposed to disenfranchise people. Why try to do it now, again? Why do we have to kick the can down the road? We need to be a little more sensible than that. Don't go through the same rigmarole over and over again. We already done spend a lot of money in court to prove that it's dishonesty and it's wrong. We shouldn't go through it again. I do not see a problem with the the voters in the diaspora. I think the problem is with the leaders, the politicians who try to outdo each other with all these flights bringing in people.
Mhm.
If somebody is patriotic and they want to support the country, let them do it. Let them buy the ticket and come. You buying a ticket for a plane load of people to come in to vote for you, that's bribery. Going around dishing out money, that's bribery. Compete with ideas, not paying people. And so that's the reason why I said there's a problem with the politicians, with the leaders. Let them solve it, the electoral laws are there. Let them solve it themselves. And leave the people alone. Leave the electorates alone. And anybody that tries to mess with the electorates, they're going to pay the penalty. There are going to be consequences. Let them go ahead. As a Jamaican, listen, remember me tell you that.
Okay, caller.
All right.
All right. You have a wonderful night. Let us stick with the lines. You have another caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Hello?
Yes, you're on the mark.
Yes. Try.
Yes.
Yes,
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Yeah, the caller there, Lynn think it's Nevis. But he don't know that this electoral system all messed up. All kind of fraudulent voting. He's crazy. Try and the ear one and the ear.
You're on the air. Go ahead, caller.
The caller there who talking there, he gotta be a crazy guy.
So what's your point of view, caller?
Hello?
Yes, what's your point of view?
Well, we gotta clean up the electoral since it and Nevis. The Honorable Mark Brantley had to do it over there, you know. He ain't quite get it done, you know. Why you think the vagabond fella preaching the federal government will call the election? Because he know what he do. He contaminate the whole thing. It's not gonna work like this, you know. And Brother Nebo, and down here, and Brother Nebo should talk a little more sensible and wiser than that. The whole system is messed up.
So caller, you're saying that what we need to do is to probably
Clean the whole
clean
system.
up the
government
voters
said
list.
2 months. Voters out there must glad to help the government deal with the problem.
Okay, caller.
It's messed up, try.
So
I
you're
want the Honorable Mark Brantley sit down and they work out this thing. Because try, when you look at the constituency, the amount of voters in the constituency then is a problem. And the vagabond fellow, you know, he know what he do, and he got to fix. So all of them who are talking about all this, the government and disenfranchising nobody. All the government trying to do is get the votes, get the constituencies them equal. And it's 2 seats gotta come, let 2 seats come. Good night, Chai.
you have a wonderful night, caller. You have any other callers on the line? Okay, so here we have different views. We have a caller calling in with a different view. We have another caller on the line. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Good night, Troy.
Yes, good night.
The gentleman from New York
Yes.
just called in concerning, people coming down to vote.
Uh-huh.
He mentioned something which was very important. He mentioned stamp out corruption.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now, when you have 20-something planes coming down there, and you have people on all those planes, nobody pay a penny.
Mm-hmm.
And these flights cost, from New York, the regular flights are $800-900 up to $1,100. So who is paying for those flights? Number one. Number two, you have people who has voted in Nevis, who I know voted in Nevis,
Uh-huh.
who has never been to Nevis until they came down on that place to vote. It has happened down there. Okay? And then this paying people to vote. This is another thing.
Caller,
So
I
I
don't know about the paying people to vote, eh?
It happens. But anyway, Unity have started something where they want to clean up the corruption in the election that has been going on in St. Kitts and Nevis. So he mentioned that about the corruption. When you get on a plane and nobody knows where the money is, who pay for your ticket, and you just jump on a plane from New York, some people get their rent cars, hotels, and whatever it is. I'm happy Unity start the process of trying to do something about it, and that's my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I don't believe that.
So what's
living
your
here in
opinion
New
on
York.
the residency requirement? Do you have an opinion on that?
Yes, my opinion. I do not believe I'm living here in New York, and I'm going to get on a plane, come down, vote, and leave maybe the same day or the next day. So my opinion is that people who are living there should make the decision on, whichever government run their affairs, rather than I come in and come out the next day and leave a government down there for whoever is living there. And that's my opinion.
Okay, caller.
Okay.
We have another caller on the line. Let's stick with the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Good night.
Yes, caller. Good night.
Good night.
Hello. Yes, good night.
Yes.
Hello. Hello. Good night. We're losing you. Hello. Okay, we seem to have lost that caller. Caller, please do. We apologize for that. Please do try to get back in again. I don't know if perhaps you're in an area where the service is not so good. We have another caller on the line. Let's stick with the lines. Caller, you're on the mark.
Hi, good night.
Yes, good night.
I have a concern.
Yes.
On Sunday, I attended the Calypso Elimination Show,
Uh-huh.
and my husband, he's a Calypsonian.
Uh-huh.
Previous times, we usually go together. But unfortunately, for some reason, we could not have attended at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So when I get at the gate, I was told that before I could even self-demonstrate or say who I am, I was told I still have to pay.
Okay.
As I entered into the compound, I saw another Calypsonian, and I stand up speaking to him, and he was sort of in a conversation that he was totally annoyed because apparently he himself brought someone there, and he was told at the gate that he has to pay also. Then he was so annoyed that he even turned and said, this is crap, because he spoke to the next guy who is a Calypsonian, and the next guy told him, well, he came in there with his woman free. They didn't have to pay. Right?
Uh-huh.
When I came by the gate, I explained to Mr. Abernathy that I'm a Calypsonian wife. He didn't wait to hear who is the Calypsonian or if the Calypsonian present here. He just said, I still have to pay.
Okay.
I humbly paid my $20 and went in. And then when I went in, had other Calypsonians had the same issues also. So that is my concern, because I believe that previous times that I didn't have to pay because my husband, he's a Calypsonian, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when I was told that other Calypsonian, maybe companion or whoever the company of them, they end up passing free.
Okay, caller.
So this is a great concern to me.
I have taken a note. I am going to raise it with the Minister of Culture for him to raise with the persons in charge of Culturama.
Okay, thanks very much.
Okay. You have a wonderful night, caller. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. It is 10 minutes after the 9 o'clock hour. The lines are open. Numbers to call, 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. Of course, On the Mark is the People's Show. Straight talk across the Narrows. We come here week after week. We try to get your opinion, to interact with you. We bring things that we believe are issues that are pertinent to the day, and we listen to your issues and try as much as possible to address them where we can. We have another caller on the line. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Yeah, Chai.
Uh-huh.
This committee haven't done anything much to improve the calendar from last year.
My friend, how are you? Long time I didn't hear your voice, man. What you have for me tonight?
Hello?
Yes, you're there?
Yeah, I'm here.
So long I didn't hear you. I haven't been here for a while. I'm happy to hear your voice.
For the past couple of years, everybody been crying out, say they want to stay by the food fee longer.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, you mean to tell me the committee still come back and put the Calypso show with the food fee again? And they're saying that the food fee is going to be over by 7 o'clock because they want everybody to go by the Calypso show. Which means they could have simply make a move the Calypso show to Friday night and move up the Wet Fest to Saturday night. The Wet Fest is not an event where you have to be early. Some people go Wet Fest 10 o'clock, some go 11, some go 12. Even 1 o'clock, some people go a Wet Fest. So you see, the two events can work at the same time. And if you're interested in a Wet Fest, you could still stay by the food feast. But no, they're going to still come back, putting the Calypso show back on Saturday night, even though they hear everybody crying out that they want to stay by the food longer.
Well, here's a suggestion. Perhaps we can come to the food fair a bit earlier, and that way we get to spend more time at the food fair. What do you think about that suggestion?
Well, how much earlier you could come by the food fair?
So what time you planning to go food fair?
But what I'm trying to say, the food fair is an event have grown the Calypso show over the years.
It has done what?
Oh, he has overtaken the Calypso show.
I don't subscribe to that view. I believe if somebody is interested in going to the Calypso show, that they're going to go to the Calypso show. They're going to go to the food fair in a decent time, leave the food fair at a time that they can go home, get ready, go to the Calypso show.
Yeah, but the thing is that most of the people been saying that they want to stay longer by the food fair.
Okay.
So what's so hard in moving the Calypso show to Friday night and move the Wet Fest to Saturday night?
So how long do you propose that the food fair should go on?
But the food fair go on as long as people stay there. That's what I'm saying. If people want to stay by the food fair, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, whatever time. Remember, people pay their money to come here to have a good time, you know.
Yes,
you
but the food fair was not designed to go on to those times, and that is not how the persons who are responsible for Culturama have set it up. They have not set it up to go on till 1 o'clock and them times in the morning.
Yeah, but because you had the two shows, the Calypso show and the food fair at the same time, and some people had to left to go to support the Calypso show. But you have overgrown the Calypso show by now. You know, see, the food fair have gotten much bigger now.
Yes,
much bigger.
The food fair is big.
Yes, and people keep saying they want to stay by the food fair longer.
Okay.
And that is why some of the people are coming to the Calypso show much later now, because they're staying by the food fair longer.
Okay, so your concern is
They
registered.
don't make adjustments long time. Another problem I have again, you have semi-final in the heart of culture. Semi-final is a pre-activity. The Calypso semi-final should have been on this weekend here with the Soca semi-finals. Those events supposed to already gone between Culturama open. Nobody's supposed to come here and watch the semi-finals. When Culturama open, it's all about main event, big event now. You have semi-finals next week. Following week, you have finals. You're coming back to see the same two songs again in a quick time. So it's almost like the same show you're seeing again.
Okay, Carla.
Because it's close there.
And any other suggestions?
Huh?
Any other suggestions?
Well, I have a lot of things. This year...
Yeah, but we can spend all night, because remember the lines lighting up.
Okay, I'm finishing up.
Even though I'm happy to hear from you.
This year, the committee went out the way to advance the calendar, and the Minister of Culture went out the way to help them out, because his job is to call on his stakeholders, them in Nevis, all these people putting on these different activities, have a little talk with them, ask them to come on board, help go the Culturama, help out the committee. Fisher folks right in Eric mouth. Eric should don't call on his Fisher folk and ask them, put on something.
During
But-
cultural time,
But we have a whole big calendar of activities here.
what the whole big calendar be? You
It
have
will-
Jaguars
It will
on
take
a Sunday.
it will take me all night to read this.
I'm saying you got Jaguars on a Sunday. Everybody want to go to Jaguars? The whole Sunday you got Jaguars. Everybody don't want to go to Jaguars. Days where you should have something else. You give the people an option. If they're not interested in a Jaguars, they could go to something else. They could go on with a kite flying company up a flat.
But they have Queen Show Friday night. I mean Sunday night.
Yeah, I'm talking about in the day. I'm not talking
Yeah, so
about in the
so
night.
so people
I'm
like me
talking
might
about
want
the
to sleep.
daytime.
People like me might want to sleep in the day so that I can go to Queen Show in the night, and then I can maybe go down in the village, and then I could go Juve the next morning.
But what I'm saying, even if you okay, somebody else who interested in Lyman in the day, and then are interested in going to Jaguars, where the guys, you should, days where next event should have been on the calendar. That's what I'm saying. Every job is to call on the stakeholders. If the people who doing the fisher folk, people who doing the kite flying.
Okay, Carl, I'm gonna do something that I've never done. I'm gonna tell you tech win on that topic. Okay? Very nice to hear from you. We have other callers holding. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Good night. So I have a concern.
Yes,
Question first.
sure.
Could you both sing in your own song?
If you could bust
Singing your own song.
singing your own song,
Yeah.
I would think so. That has happened over the years many, many, many times.
Okay, right? But I saying, right? It's your song, you sing a song how you want, right? But anyway, saying that, I feel like they do Destiny a bit of injustice.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, because she sang about 80% of her song, right?
Uh-huh.
And she make a little blunder, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then she come back and she finish the song.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, she walk off the stage. She come back and she finish the song. But I can't see how little 5 minutes, 2 minutes of blunder can override 80% of your song. So she could even make it to the semis. I got a problem with that.
Carla, what I'll say is I did not get to go to the show.
I went to the show.
I have heard. I go on Facebook often. I have seen posts on Facebook. I've seen the comments and so on Facebook. Of course, I'm not in a position to comment because I was not at the show. But these shows, they have judges,
Yeah.
and it's the responsibility of the judges to judge the calypso based on the criteria that they have. Now, I don't have the criteria, and I'm not looking at what they are looking at. At the end of the day, we have to go by what the judges say. So they would have made the decision, and we just have to abide by their decision.
Yeah, okay, but I spoke to a judge. Nothing is in the criteria about if your boss, you get thrown out or whatever. Nothing is in the concerning that, right?
Okay, so
And-
maybe it is that the 12 persons who have advanced, they have advanced because at the end of the day, when they add up all of the judges' score, they had the 12 highest scores.
No, I don't. I went to the show,
Uh-huh.
right? And I don't think so. Even though she make a little blunder, she saw better than at least 3 or 4 Calypsonians who complete the whole song.
Well, I've
Yeah,
heard
talk about
that.
that.
I have
Yeah.
also heard that the young lady was that she sounded very well.
For real, it's true.
But
I know Calypsonians in as a Calypso fan, I go to every Calypso show, both Think It and Nevis, every year, right? And I know of Calypsonian boss make blunders in final show and still come king. So what I'm saying, you could be out far in front and then make a blunder, and then you still end up winning because the points and so, right? But I can't see how you making to move to go to semi-final, right? And I can't see how she couldn't qualify, even though she make a blunder, to go to semi-final, and she's a lot better than a lot of the Calypso on them. I believe that there's a little injustice done there to the girl, and it's she first time. So what you're telling she now, I mean, encourage she, we're telling she now, boy, okay, done with it.
Color, no. I mean, we can't
It's
just
sending
quit.
a wrong message.
We can't just quit because of adversity. I of course was not a judge, so I can't say what the judges were seeing. I have heard the sentiments that you are expressed before by other persons. It's a young lady. I talk to a lot of young people. I try to stay in with the young, and I've heard a lot of young people say, oh, they were gonna go to the show because they wanted to support her, and so on, and they were rooting for her, and so on and so on. And it's unfortunate that it turned out the way that it turned out. I believe that she already had a decent fan club, but I can't go on and speculate and say that that the judge's decision was not correct or anything like that. The committee, there's a committee. The committee put the judges in place. They give them the criteria, and the judges them should judge according to what they see. Okay.
Yeah, but I saying the young lady, if she backbone strong, she got a strong case, no? She got a strong case if she backbone strong.
Well, then it would be a matter for her if she wants to protest or something like that. Then
For real, you know what I mean? But I sure, right, that I'm more disappointed than she, because I was, even though the 11 Calypsonian call out, right, and I hear she name, I was still hoping that number 12 is she.
Okay.
And when I hear that she name and call, I get disappointed.
I understand.
Yeah, but if it wasn't for me, as a Calypsonian fan and love Calypso, I would have said, but I ain't going to the mashup. But because,
you feel that strongly about it?
Of course, yeah, but because I love the Calypso, so I say, but okay, put the best foot forward, and I say, okay, again. But no, man, I get disappointed for real. But let's hope that she ain't take it, to heart and say she finished, because I really believe it's a good prospect for the Calypso show.
Okay, Carla.
So let's hope that all goes well.
Okay, Carla. You have a wonderful night.
Yeah, take care. Bye.
Okay, let us stick with the lines. We have another caller. Okay, we've lost that. Okay, the caller is back. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Well, good night, Mr. Liber.
Yes, good night.
That previous caller, I don't know. He supports who he supports. Everybody got his support. If the young lady was not a judge to go through the finals, she wasn't. I mean, I really don't understand why you spend so much time. I think you made a good answer. Anyway, let's move on to the town hall meeting. You know what my issue with that is, Mr. Liebert? We all know politicians could talk. And if you give them 3 nights in a row, they'll talk. And they will still have more to say. We are aware of all that's being done on this island. If you say you come to have a conversation with the people, I think that you should give the people more than half an hour to interact and to make the points. I don't feel justice was done to the attendees.
You're talking about the town hall in Gingerland?
The town hall meeting, yes.
The other day.
You were
the chair.
That's very one, yes.
Okay, so what would you suggest? That we could make it up, because there was a good
I would suggest
audience there. We could make it up,
yes. I would suggest that the ministers talk less, make the point more snappy, and give the people a chance to hear their views. One of the things that I didn't particularly like, Minister Jeffers was making the point that pork has been brought in from Brazil and sold for $4.50 a pound. And the local pork is being sold for $10 a pound. And Mr. Jeffers made the point that people don't sit down and work out the prices. I couldn't making him.
Hello, we're losing your caller. Hello? Hello, caller, you there?
Yes.
Yeah, we had lost you for a while there. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. There's a lady from the village got up and she made her point. She said that when she done pay $35 a bag for feed at the supply office, and then have to pay a truck to take the pig into the abattoir and have to pay the abattoir to slaughter it, how is she going to get paid if she sells for less than $10 a pound? To me, that is working out her thingy. And Minister Jeffers and the Premier still carry on with their point that people are just charging a price and saying that is their price. That lady justified her price. She explained.
Caller,
It didn't mean anything. I mean, I don't.
We all listened to her, and I think she spoke very passionately, and I think she had a good.
My point is, Mr. Liber, that even after she spoke, Minister Jeffers still made the same non-point again. People work out what they spend to arrive at what they sell at. I mean, like I was saying, I don't, but I got a little business I run, and I know what it costs to buy fuel and to buy tires and to buy parts and that kind of thing. And it's difficult. It's difficult to make anything. And whereas a lot of the times the Premier is saying that we need to pay our taxes, every time we turn on, all we're paying is tax. You buy fuel, you pay tax. You buy tires, you pay tax. You buy everything you buy, all the spare parts you buy, bring them in. You have to pay a heavy tax on them. Sometimes up to 100%. And if you don't believe it's 100%, check it out. When you're charging tax on tax, it works out to sometimes more than 100%.
Mm-hmm.
It does. It does, and people don't.
Because you, as you say, you are working out your thing. So perhaps what it is maybe when we have forums like the one that we had, maybe what is important, I don't know if you had it done already, is to prepare the information that you want to impart. Like prepare your question, prepare like if you're going to calculate how much it taxes and so on, calculate it and so. So when you get to the town hall and you start to ask your question, that you can go through your question quickly and get everything that you want to say said, so that you can be as impactful as you want to be.
Back to my original point, Mr. Jeffers. You hear what you're telling me I should go through quickly?
No.
Allow me to finish, please.
Yeah, go
when
ahead.
the minister sit down there for 45 minutes going over the same thing over and over again, things that we already know. I mean, come on, man.
So Carla, what you want me to do? Tell the deputy premier that he going too long? I can't do that.
Listen. You say you come to have a conversation with the people. And I find, in actual fact, I'll argue with the people more than anything else.
Argue?
You're not listening. You're not. Listen, when people take the time and make the point, y'all are not accepting. I arguing. I counteracting them. Trying to counteract them and all kind of nonsense.
Well, I didn't see that.
Have a conversation with the people. Try. If you're supposed to have a conversation with people, you're supposed to try and understand what the people are saying, not trying to rebut them every time, like you're doing now.
Well, I like me? No, I'm not trying to rebut at all. I've given you the mic.
Yeah.
I've listened, and maybe now and again I try to put in a little filler, but I am not trying to counteract anything that you're saying at all.
I find we need to have a real conversation, and not a monologue, and then give everybody.
So you think
all the people who come to the town hall meeting half an hour to
So you think what we should do is probably have a town hall and have it be far more question and answer than personal speaking?
At least equal questions and answers, man. Come on. I know you all want to impart, but people know these things. People know these things. I think you'll benefit more if you listen to the people. Let the people make the point. Let them know what grieving them. That same lady made a point about the road going down there. I mean, that is something that has to be taken into consideration, and needs to be taken into consideration, and see what can be done.
I agree.
If you really care about the people, like you said, you're a caring government.
I agree with you.
All right.
Okay.
So make a note of this and take it back to cabinet.
Yes, I have a note.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
Thanks,
you have a wonderful night. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. We are at the 9:30, so we just have about a half an hour to go. The lines are open. We have another caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Good evening, good night, Charles.
Good night. How are you, my friend?
Why are you listening?
Oh, long time.
I hear you batting and bowling and just like a spin. So what you
Well,
doing?
I learned from you.
You got to learn, you know. You got to learn because they got people like to twist people words. You understand?
No, that you know, I won't let them twist
Jesus.
mine.
Every time you ask them a question, he give you a parable.
So how are you?
Now, I find something very interesting. Trying to divide and conquer. The strategy, this is the latest, this is strategy for the opposition
Uh-huh.
in Nevis and in St. Kitts.
Uh-huh.
Now they tried it with, Pam week, Pam this, Pam that, and whatever. That one didn't work. Timothy this and Timothy that, and that one didn't work. So it now reached to Nevis. I don't know if you listen.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Every time you turn around, Nevis and Mark and Mark and Mark, trying their best to put a wedge between Mark and Timothy. I heard one of them making the prognosis. Oh, I need to take down Mark. Mark is CCM. We take the Mark to take down too. I don't understand what kind of maths they use, you know.
So what they say they're gonna take down Mark for?
They, you know, all kind of imaginary things. You understand? Oh, how we this, how we that. How Timothy trying to take him over. How Timothy got somebody in who he want to put in. I said, Lord. If
Who you want to put in where?
in my place, man, is you?
Huh?
Is you?
Is me?
I don't know.
Me and Mark wear different size shoes.
I don't know, brother. But I find it so interesting because if people are not paying attention, you get carried away with them.
Huh?
You get carried away with them, you know. If people don't reason, that's what I tell our people.
So we're saying these things.
On the show,
Where the show there?
they had one today.
Where? And freedom.
Freedom.
Oh, people are listening to freedom. But in terms
Well,
of the
and they come down on Tuesdays, you're good countrymen.
yeah, but nobody listen to them there.
Well, what you mean the on freedom, so they must get listened to.
You believe
Now,
so?
one of them was making some statements, right?
Uh-huh.
I was out. I was out to ask him a question.
Uh-huh. What's the
talking
statement?
About squandermania, whatever. Up to now, I have not heard the resolution of the matter at the CFBC, you know.
Oh, okay.
You know what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, but what squandermania is that?
I don't know. That's what Timothy say. Oh, you're squandering, and oh, Lord. I never hear one. But you see, all they're trying to do is to see if they could get in somebody's head.
You know what I learned from you when we used to be on Inside the News together? That facts are stubborn things.
Yeah.
And to always have the numbers. You know, I'm
facts and stats.
you know, I'm sitting here on the mark, right? And
Yeah,
I have the
facts and stats, because I wanted to call in to ask him about it. Ask him already, you know.
I have the NIA budget reports from 2005 until 2018 right here on my computer. And I also have the NIA debt stock, the progression of the NIA debt stock from 2005 all the way up to 2018 right here in front of me,
And
right now.
You know,
You understand?
they love the IMF report, right?
Huh?
You know, they love the IMF report.
Yes.
Let them go and read the one. 'Cause I tell them I read it. You see, unlike some people, I read IMF report.
Well, I walk with this with me tonight because I had planned to say a couple
Yeah,
things about it
because
because
the thing is,
I heard, right?
facts and stats.
I heard them on the radio talking about, the NIA, the recurrent expenditure is way higher than the recurrent income, and the government soon run out of money, and the government soon can't operate, and so on.
Well,
And I was saying to myself, you know, that these guys have come with this kind of nonsense before, and we've been in the house. For those who in the house, they have come in the house with it, and I have gotten up, right? And I have brought the numbers and I've said, well, look at all your numbers and look at our numbers and compare them, right? And your numbers far worse than any numbers that we have on a scale of maybe 2, maybe double, right? I have shown the progression of the debt under the NRP for the one term and the 18 null and void months that they had in office, and I have compared it to what we have done from 2013 up until now.
But
And there is no comparison. We have
This is
been
why I tell
fiscally
them, you see,
prudent.
unlike other people, the other day, I talked to one of them talking about, soon you might not be able to get your social security. When I had to ask him, he said he was the deputy. The
Yeah, but-
director so said, well,
But
so you sat there
but-
and watched them do all these lots of things? Oh, Miss Henry, I tell her, do I read out all of it, the land transaction, you know? Do I have read them out? And I have read the actuarial report. I have read the IMF report talking about the debt, how the government under Douglas shifted the treasury bills when nobody should take them up onto the Social Security and on the National Bank. And what, I said, look, hello, it's bankrupt, nearly bankrupt the place. When you're talking about it, you got your stats and your facts. Because they could say anything, because you see, there's an assumption. I tell people that there's an assumption, especially, I don't know about Nevis, but the Labour Party assume that everybody's stupid. That's why I don't support them, you know. They assume that everybody's stupid, or stupider than them.
Miss Henry, if there's one thing I learned from you, right, is to always have the facts.
Yeah,
go
because you don't
go
know
into those auditors' reports and those kind of things and
I was going
look
to
at
tell one, go get one
the
today,
facts.
because they're telling me about the good management. I never see more deficit.
Exactly, and that is what I does do. I go for the facts.
4 straight years of economic decline, and they're telling me, oh, we had a strong economy. I say, you all understand what you're saying? You understand what you're saying? This is what I'm telling you. You got to deal with them with facts and stats.
And that is the
So I ain't
important
got
thing.
nobody. I love everybody, but the facts and the stats must speak. Cause nothing hear them. Nothing doing Nevis. Well, nothing doing St. Kisai. I mean, intelligent people, you know. Intelligent people watch things done, know the cost. Nothing doing Nevis. I like how somebody cornered one of them. He said, in the next month, all the hotels going to shut down. Somebody got to call in and say, look, it is traditional for some of these hotels to close in the dull season.
Exactly.
You understand? Traditional. Since Mark Day, all of these things going to shut down. And what are people going to do? And all kind of whoa. When they were in there and it was happening, what were they doing? I just said, do like me here. Get the auditor report for some of them.
I learn it from you, I tell you, I got my computer open in front of me right
Yes,
now.
you get it. So when you're talking, you can give them the reference.
Yeah, that's the only thing I do is talk facts, you know. I don't have to cuss. I don't have to cuss one politician.
And if you want to, you go on the SIDF website to see the financial accounts and read the notes.
I've downloaded all of them
Go read
already.
that.
And you see, sometimes it's good to interact and learn, you know. And I must commend you because I learned a lot of these things because I was spending some.
Yeah. I don't want stupid argument. I don't
Excuse
want
me.
stupid argument. Not all I do. What do you mean not all I do?
So
What do you mean not all I do?
so many things have been done.
I mean, I'm blind, but that's what I'm saying. It's nothing do either. Nothing do. And what was do? I had to correct one the other day. Labour built the CFBC. I said, boy, no, Labour built the wall around it, please. It's true. Jenkins built the wall. Labour built the part with the hotel thing in front. Pam built that thing. They built the judicial complex that they name after Limo. Pam built that. Pam had one swoop of capital. I tell one on the radio the other day, go pick up the 1994 budget estimates and look in the capital account and see what is in there.
It's
Go
always
in there.
important to go and read because all of the information is there.
I told one
and
the other
facts.
day, we don't know when we can get. I said,
Facts don't change.
the India, you look in 2 years after the date, you have the actual expenditure. I say, oh, I don't know about that. And he said, anyway, I pray for the country here.
Yes.
And all I beg you, don't eat from them. I just tell Mark all the time, don't let them set him up.
So
They're like, shut up, you know.
So let me ask you something. So what you said they're trying to do? Divide
Trying
to bring down.
If they could get Mark to say something bad about Timothy, you understand? They say, oh, you don't see. Now, this is a democratic country. If Mark feel a certain way, he could say, look, I don't want 6 months, whatever. You understand? When they had the Tululu in there, you know, three of them come out. As a fan come out, you know, you understand what I'm talking about? Then everybody want to accept the one. Oh, and Mark said this, and Timothy said this, and how he got somebody. I'm telling you, somebody met me and tell me, but Mrs. Henry, somebody said Hazel Brandy Williams is going. She gonna farm she own party. Oh, you get a one? You too far away. Come tell me that, I said, watch me. I said, that is labor propaganda. And she can form she own party. Be the premier of Nevis. I mean, they got their own Tululu. Then the next generation.
So what they say about me?
Change the name. Y'all in the next generation, you got 2 old people in there, 3 old people in there.
They're not going to comedy about me too? Lord, man, I feel bad.
Oh, you playing engineer?
Huh?
Oh, you don't get your shape of your Nevis set, you know. All you got to do, do look what to do. Get them facts and the stats for them.
Yeah, but I thought they would make up one on me too. I feel bad that they don't make up no story on me.
Well, you not do nothing. You ain't nothing to do.
I don't do nothing.
You ain't doing nothing. No word, nothing, no nothing, no nothing. You ain't doing nothing. And I tackle one about the park. He comes about, oh, the better use could have been made of the money. I say, full belly and everything.
Which money that? For the park?
Yeah, the park.
The
one
park.
of the nice good NRP, one of the nice good NRP people.
That like the fox that call the
You
grape
understand?
sour.
I say hello. There's something called long-term. Long-term planning.
That's the fox, man.
You understand?
Calling the grape sour because they can't reach it.
Anyway, God bless them. God bless you all.
Okay, you have a wonderful night.
Live in peace and love your brethren and forgive them.
Okay, thank you.
Forgive them, you hear? And keep
Always.
your eye on them.
Always.
They're mixing with some people who like to set up, plan, and plant. You
All right.
understand? Beg the Lord cover you. Every day say, Lord, cover me from my enemies. Fight against those that fight against me. Anyway, good night.
You have a wonderful
Good
night.
night, Godwin Brown. That's my good friend who I passed the other day.
Okay.
That was one of my best friends. Good night to all of my relatives, my nephews in Cotton Ground, Beverly and Jevon. Hope you're behaving yourself. Yampy son, Yampy was my brother.
Yes, I know them good.
Make sure you behave yourself, you hear?
All right, I will
Or
do
call
that.
me and tell me, because they don't know me.
All right.
God bless you, God
Yes.
bless Nevis, God bless St. Kitts.
You have a wonderful night.
God bless all of God's people.
Okay, let's stick with the lines. We have another caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Yes, good evening, Chai.
Good evening.
Yes, the electoral office, he opened now from after election, it shut down.
What you say, open right now?
I want to know why Labour didn't get to go up the park when the ambassador or what's his name come. You all must give us invitation that we could reach those places. Put politics aside and the difference and
So you didn't go? But look, I saw you at the
No,
National
but
Heroes.
the husband
But look,
didn't
you
go.
went to the National Heroes thing when they were unveiling the National Heroes. You don't remember?
My husband go, and I remember Nolan Douglas go up there too. But me not see him up there. I mean, I see him in the picture.
Oh.
So you all must put the difference aside and give Labour.
Oh, so where he was supposed to go out on the tarmac to meet the plane?
Yes,
But no,
Maybe-
that is for the government.
Yes, Timothy is a Labour man too, you know, because he comes from Douglas.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so you all put politics aside and give him invitation to go up here.
All right, so you want him go out to meet the plane?
We send we on with you, so you take care.
All right, you take care.
Okay.
We have another caller. Let's stick with the lines. Caller, you're on the mark. Good night.
Good evening, Mr. Library again.
Yes, good evening.
Mr. Library, that's the last call it. On point all the time, man. On point all
Oh,
the
Miss
time.
Henry? Yes.
Man,
And you see
I
me
listen-
thank her because I learn a lot of things from her.
Yes, I listen to the program that she's talking about here. And I hear them carrying on how Mark should tell Timothy that the 6 months requirement can't work and this and that. Mark had already dealt with that. He said there needs to be a conversation. Let the people say if the
I'm going to let you talk, but I just want to interject and say one thing.
yeah.
The only time Mark need to listen to their advice, right, is when he want to learn how to lose. Yeah, you understand? And
Well,
I don't
to
think
that
he
too.
want to learn how to do that.
I was coming to that too.
All right, go
Because
ahead.
I remember one night a friend of mine called me and asked me if I was listening to Corey and Verge and how Mr. Hector was on the program and he had a bombshell to drop. And I keep asking what the bombshell is and I couldn't get it. When I found out what it was, I said, wow, a bombshell dropped right by Hector too. I was talking to a friend of mine in St. Thomas and I was explaining to him the situation. The man said, wow, Hector drop a bombshell and blow up the whole NRP. I go, boy, it looks on because the next election they lose an extra seat. They lost an extra seat, so it's now 4-1. So, I mean, I don't know where they expect to be going if they have a loser leading them. You know, I mean, it's something that they need to pay attention to. If you could only have a man who lost his seat to lead you, what does that say about you?
Well, they have choices to make. I mean,
I heard some of them on Facebook start to rejoice when he became leader of the party, but they were rejoicing on both sides.
well, you know, we in the CCM can't choose for the NRP. The NRP have to choose for themselves, and the people of Nevis have to choose. You know what somebody told me the other day? They tell me, try the place feel light. I said, what do you mean? Say the place feel light, man. Since CCM in government, the place just feel light. When NRP was in government, the politics was rabid and, you know, you know, they were in government, but they were so vicious and that kind of thing. They said, but CCM in government, and the government is not a vicious government. You don't see the government trying to shut down people and attacking people and that type of thing. The government is just
They're not gonna get you anywhere.
going about its business.
Yeah.
And guess what? When the time comes for voting, we're not going to go and tell people, well, we do this for you, so you must do this and you must do that. What we're going to
there's no
simply
need for
tell
that.
people to
The
do is to
people- the people-
examine the
the people could
performance.
The people could look and see. for themselves.
Exactly.
And that is the best way to go.
So the person tell me the place just feel light.
Yep. All right.
All right, Carla, you have a wonderful night.
Yeah.
Okay, so we don't have any other caller. We are 10 minutes before the 10 o'clock hour. And I tell you, the calls have come fast and furious tonight. I didn't even get a chance to go through this little monologue that I had here. I have this computer here with all these notes. Because, you know, so those guys, they went on the radio. And they start to say how CCM running up all this debt. And soon, Nevis people we're going to be buried under all of this debt. I say, boy, how people just go and talk things knowing that the facts are there and the facts going to make them look really, really, really bad when they come out, right? So I made a call to the Ministry of Finance and I said, well, I would like to see what the debt numbers look like for 2016, 2017, and 2018, because as you all know, I have all of the debt figures going back from the time St. Kitts Nevis became independent up until like maybe 2015, 2016. I try to keep them where I could find them, because when people talk and they talk nonsense, sometimes you just have to bring the facts, correct them, let the people know what the facts are, and so that people can judge for themselves, because there's no massive amount of debt being run up here. So back in 2005, right? Back in 2005, the Nevis Island administration had a total outstanding debt, or total disbursed debt, of just about $213 million, right? By the end of 2012, that's when the NRP left government, because we got in January 2013, right? Remember I told you all 200, I'm looking for my calculator, you know, because I want to calculate this. Remember I just told you 213 million. By the time CCM got in, so at December 2012, that debt had gone up to 352 million. It got some change to it too, but I'm just giving you the main thing. So 352 minus 213. That's $139 million, right? In 6.5 years. That's what NRP had racked up. 6.5 years, $139 million. Remember that number, $139 million. That's what NRP rack up in debt. Okay? Now, CCM government now has been in since 2013, January 2013, and as of the end of December 2018, because we haven't come to the end of 2019 yet, so we don't have all the numbers for 2019. So as of the end of 2019, the debt now stands at 390. This is NIA debt, $396 million, right? And so 396, and you take away from that 352 at the end of at December 2012, right? And CCM has been in government from 2013, so that's 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18. That's 5 years, right? So at the end of that 5 years, right, CCM has added $44 million to the debt. You understand? $44 million was added to the debt, right? Now, go ask anybody in NRP, when they tell you about debt and so on, running up debt, ask them about the $139 million that they put on to the debt. And ask them, what did we get for that $139 million that they put on to the debt, right? Go and ask them. And that was not all the debt, because we have not yet considered that overdraft that they had in the bank, that 60-something million, right? And inside this $44 million that we have here, that overdraft is also considered inside here, right? Also consider this. The monies that we took from the CDB, right, to pay for the big water enhancement project is also inside this 44 million here, right? So if you look at it, in 6.5 years, the NRP would have run up $139 million in debt, just off of the bare numbers, right? Without going through to explain all of the different intricacies to show you why it would be more than that, right? $139 million. And in 5 years, CCM has added $44 million to the debt stock. Okay? And I want you all to consider something too. The debt that the NRP had run up, right? They ran up that debt at 9% interest. The loans that they got them at 9% interest and so on. Now, the CCM has since renegotiated those loans, right? We had to take an overdraft that we had at National Bank, a huge overdraft. When we converted that instrument to a loan, the instrument was $140-something million. I remember when we went to the house to do that conversion, they came in the house talking about, oh, we're trying to bring new debt. New debt. That time it was dear debt that we were trying to convert. Now we got that debt converted, right? And we got the interest rate down to just about 4.5% to 5%. I think it's around 5%. There is a big, big difference between the debt servicing on a loan at 9% than a loan at 5%. So what people got to understand, right, is that when they're talking about mismanagement of money, 139 million in debt added in 6.5 years, as opposed to 44 million added in 5 years. And I'm going to do a little additional comparison here. So 139 divided by 6.5, that means they rack up debt at 21.38 million per year. Okay? Now the CCM one, 44 million divided by 5, right? The CCM rack up debt at $8.8 million per year. So if you want to do any kind of comparison, okay? Any kind of comparison you want to do. The NRP, they incur their debt at 21.38 million per year. The CCM incurred debt at $8.8 million per year. And that is just looking at the raw figures, without bringing into account the fact that we had to get debt instruments on that overdraft that the NRP had and all of those things. It doesn't bring any of those things into consideration. So just off of the raw figures, because I don't have enough time here tonight to go into all of the details. But the politics is in the air, and they're going to continue to talk. And so we're going to have to continue to correct them. And as time goes by, I'll probably get an opportunity to come here and to actually sit down and go through and explain the makeup of the debt. Okay? But for now, the music has come on. That means that our time is almost over. Ladies and gentlemen, it was very good to be back here on the mark. The calls came fast and furious. We got the opinions of our good people out there. I want to thank all of you who listening. I want to thank all of you who took the time out to call in and give your opinion. I want to say again, special happy birthday to Colin. And of course, I want all of you to have a wonderful night. Of course, this show is going to be rebroadcast tomorrow at 1, right here on the Eastern Caribbean's only powerhouse, Van Radio. Please do have a wonderful